Hivers, welcome to another episode. How are you doing? How is it going with you? How have you been lately? Let's catch up. Tell me what's been going on with you. As for me, well, a lot has been going on. I'm working on a couple of projects right now that I would be spilling the tea on pretty soon. And also, generally speaking, I have been going through some life changes. Let me call it that. I mean, it's a phase in my life that I'm going through, and with time, I'll share, all that I've learned in this phase of my life, and also just share. Y'all know that I always give you my hivers top notch gist, right? So yeah, I'm going to share in due time. I can hear someone say, Tian, what's all this coding for? Don't worry. I will share with all of you in due time. Right? All right. Enough about me. What about you? What's been going on with you? For those of you who are listening from or watching from Nigeria, how how has it been? How is the economy treating you? Is it just me, or everyone has adjusted to this removal of fuel subsidy? Because it feels like everyone has just adjusted and we are back to normal. Is it just me, or that's what it is? I know that we as a people in Nigeria, we tend to be able to move on or just adapt quickly and just continue with life with whatever is being thrown at us. And yeah, that's the case again. But let me know what you think. Do you think that people are still not adjusted, or do you think people are fully adjusted to what the economy is saying right now? Let me know. Okay. For those of you who are not in Nigeria, who are not listening from Nigeria, wherever you're listening from, whatever part of the world that you're listening from or watching, how's life been treating you lately? How has it been with you, generally speaking? I hope all the reports are good. I hope everything is good and okay with you. So speaking of which, when we continued with the season 6, we started we added video content to our listening experience. For those of you who have watched the new episodes of the season 6, what do you think about it? What's your feedback? Do you think it's something we should keep up? Are there things that you would like us to tweak or change, or just up our game on? Let us know. We love your feedback. So currently we are streaming across all podcast platforms where you listen from: Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and all the other podcast listening platforms. And also, we are now on YouTube podcast for YouTube. Yeah, and so if you think that you'd rather watch the Ladies Hive, you can now do so on YouTube. Okay, let's know what you think about it. All right, today we are talking about what you bring to the table. What do you bring to the table? There's all this talk about um, um, what you bring to the table, especially in relationships, right? Romantic relationships in particular. We usually get asked what you are bringing to the table, right? And sometimes it's the other way around. But today's perspective is a little different um, from the what do you bring to the table conversations that we are used to. We usually see maybe on the internet, or maybe we've been asked a couple of times. So recently, I sat in on an interview um, to fill in a role. So an interview went on for a couple of hours because we interviewed more than one person. It was not only me that sat in an interview. We were about three, yeah. And while we're interviewing the prospective uh, candidates, one of the interviewers, I was an interviewer as well. So my colleague asked this question: what do you bring to the table? What are you going to be bringing to the company that gives you an edge over other people that we are going to be interviewing today? Or why do you get this? Why do you think that this opportunity should be yours? And some of the interviewees were, it had lost, because when you ask this question, and I guess in whatever scenario it is, it's kind of a chance for you to sell yourself, right? So when you're asked what do you bring to the table, hello, huh, you should be able to speak on the things that you bring to the table, why you are worthy, and why you think this other person or these people or this company deserves you. Yeah. One of the reasons why we are talking about this today is, so first off, we got mail, and I'll be reading the mail in a bit. So the mail that we are taking today is something related to this. But the other reason is, after the interview session, later that day, I kept on thinking on how, though this what do you bring to the table question can be redundant, or it might sound cliche, but it's important that you as a person know what you are worth, what you bring to whatever relationships or partnerships that you find yourself in. I think that it's important that we ask ourselves this from time to time, so that whenever there's a question like that, and you have an answer for that person. You should be able to confidently answer questions like this without fidgeting, without stuttering, without being at a loss for words. Do you get my drift? I feel like, this question, what do you bring to the table, is another way of asking, what are you worth? Are you even worthy of this, or of me, or of this position, or of this role, or whatever it is? What do you think about that question? What do you bring to the table? And if you're asked this same question, do you have an answer in whatever scenario you're asked? And I want you to mute on that for a bit while we read our mail from one hiver who needs our help. All right. So, this email is from one of our hivers, and the subject is, what should I do? And this hiver just went straight to the point. And it says, Dear Tian, please, I need your help. So I got promoted at work, It's the kind of promotion where it starts off as unofficially official. I'm doing quote fingers because that's how this Iva put it here. This the unofficially official is in quotes. Here's what I mean, okay? There was an opening recently at my office in the department I work in, a managerial role. So pending the time the role was filled, I was asked to step in. A few months later, I'm doing all of the managerial duties, attending management meetings with my boss, commending me for holding down the team, saying things like, oh, they knew I could do it. However, there's been no increase in my salary. Uh oh. My contract hasn't been reviewed. I haven't been given a new contract yet. So I'm doing all of this work, but not getting all the perks that are supposed to come with a managerial role. Okay. Now, I don't know how to bring it up with my boss because earlier on in the year, as per the in house practice of the company, my salary was reviewed and increased slightly for doing a good job the previous year. I now feel like if I ask, it will come off as me not being a team player, but I really feel I should be duly compensated for the role I have assumed and the workload that comes with it. I'm just so confused. What do you think I should do? Please, I need input from you and the hivers. I'll be listening if and when you read this mail and if you treat it. And also, if you post this mail on the Gram community for the Ladies Hive, I will be in the comments as well. Thanks. XOXO. Um, of course, we know that we don't share names on when we read out mails for privacy reasons. Yeah. Whew. Okay. So. This would be a good time for this hiver to have to ask herself, what do I bring to the table so that I can ask properly for what I should be compensated. So here's what I think. I've been in a similar situation before, and I understand the predicament really that you are in. So, dear Hyper, please have that conversation. Have that conversation with your boss so that there's no speculation and so that you know where you stand. Have the conversation and ask. You don't have to be. It's not a. It's not fight, right? It's not a fight, right? But have that conversation and just politely ask. Share your thoughts on what you were thinking, what was going to come with stepping into the managerial role. Are you Is someone still coming to take over the position from you, and then you go back to your former role? Are you fully officially assuming the role? And if so, is your contract going to be reviewed? Is your remuneration going to be reviewed? Are you expecting other perks that should come with the role? Politely ask. Yeah, that would just solve all of this headache. And I get the feeling of, oh, what if I ask and they now think that I'm not a team player, or you trying to be loyal in quote to your to your employers. But here's the thing: you need to think of yourself as well. You need to put yourself first, because the truth is, if your bosses or your boss, see you assuming that managerial position, see that you have uh, characteristics or or a personality of assuming that managerial role, best believe that you do. Because if you're going to hire someone from scratch, it will cost them more. It will cost them more. So, in my opinion, you are well within your rights. You are well within your rights to ask that your contract be reviewed and your remuneration be reviewed as well. You are well within your rights too.
As you stated in the email, right? I totally get that feeling, especially, as you said that, you know, your salary was raised recently, earlier on in the year, right? But I mean, while I understand that feeling, as you rightly said in the email, it's an in-house practice of for the company to review salaries of employees for a job well done, right? They thought that you did a good job and decided to compensate you accordingly. Yeah, which I think is really fair on their part, right? So, um, yeah, I think you should have that conversation because, my dear, at the end of the day, it's just business. It's strictly business, right? And if they are in the habit of, reviewing salaries and giving compensations as it went due, um, maybe, all of this is already in review, right? Your compensation, your new salary, right? But it won't hurt. It won't hurt to ask. It won't hurt to to have that conversation, and whatever the outcome of the conversation is that you have with either the HR person or your boss, I think that you should um, consider looking into what the job market has in store for you, right? Okay, so hear me out. Um, while I know that there are a lot of things to consider when just looking for a new job, like the trajectory of your career path, what exactly it is that you're looking for, room for growth, which with this your current employer, I think that there's room for growth because I mean you just assumed a new position, right? Um, but the only issue now is the compensation. So it won't hurt. It won't hurt to see what the job market is saying at this time. It don't have to be something serious. You can just uh, uh, casually or passively, check out job sites, right? And apply for roles that are par with your current role, right? Apply, and if you get called for an interview, all well and good. Apply and just test the waters and see what the job market is saying at this time. At the end of the exercise, I mean, you might get an offer and you might not, but um, one thing is certain: you have nothing to lose. I was having a conversation recently with a dear friend of mine, something around this, and he said something. He said that with situations like this, you have nothing to lose because it's not as if you are actively hunting, and it's not as if you are in between jobs or you're out of a job, right? So whether you get called back or not, whether you get an offer or not, you have nothing to lose. In fact, it's in your favor. How, you might ask? So once you get called in for an interview, um, you have that conversation, you get interviewed. That whole process gives you an insight as to what interviewers are looking for, what head hunters are looking for, with the kind of questions that they ask, and with how the conversation goes, you get a sense of what they are looking for the particular role that you have your eyes set on, right? So this would help you when you now start actively looking to switch jobs. This would help. It will help you stay abreast of what the interviewers are looking for, what head hunters are looking for, and also you won't be rusty when it comes to applications, right? So yeah, it won't hurt to test the waters. It won't hurt to see what the market is saying as regards this role, the roles that you have your eyes set on, and then you get a sense of how much that role should be worth, right? I mean, that in a way that sort of boosts your confidence, right? We had the conversations go, and we what if you do get an offer, what they are offering, or if you get to the negotiation stages where they're asking you, okay, if we give you X, Y, Z as opposed to what you're asking for, would you accept? And you know how interviews go now. So that's how you get a sense of you know, what should be expected in terms of remuneration for that role, right? And even when you do have that conversation, you now know what to expect. Let me just say this. The truth is, if your boss or your bosses or the HR, whoever is in charge, if they see you as that person that has uh, see you in this current role, this current managerial role that you are taking, chances are other people will too. Other head hunters will do too. Once they take a look at your resume and they have a conversation with you, they know the stuff that you're made of, right? So yeah, I think that you should have that conversation. Have that conversation with whoever is in charge, so you know where you stand with this.
I also think that one more thing that you can do is evaluate yourself. Ask yourself that question. The question that we started this episode with: what do you bring to the table? What exactly do you bring to the table as regards this role? If you can put a presentation together, it can be a word document or slides or whatever, right? there's there's something about when things are put in black and white, right? It just helps put things in perspective. So ask yourself that question: what have I brought to the table so far? What will I still bring? Right? So you are going into that meeting, you are going into that conversation with your facts and figures, and you'll be showing to anybody who asks questions as to how far, all the things that you've been able to accomplish since you assumed that role, and all the things that you will still accomplish, right? So put your act together. Don't just go there without unprepared, right? Be prepared for that conversation, because employers can be a tad tricky and slippery when it comes to things like this. But when you go prepared, whatever questions that they have or whatever loophole they are trying to use to get out of that conversation, you have a response for it, right? So if you do have that conversation, please go prepared. Uh, Go prepared, and afterwards you can then find out if um, you can now know where you stand, because at the end of the day, there's nothing as good as having what you are entitled to in black and white. There's nothing as good as having it on paper. It helps making reference to in case one party wants to default, right? So have that conversation, and if they say that they will insist or ask nicely that it is put in black and white. Okay? Yeah, I think that would help as well. So please let us know how it goes.
One more thing I would like to add is take some time out to pray. take some time out to pray about things, and get the divine direction that you need, or the wisdom on how to go about or navigate all of this, right? Everything works out better, or everything is made better and easier when prayers are involved. You get? So yes, take time out to to pray as well. Okay. All right, Hivers. So this is my 2 cents. So this is what I think this hiver should do. What do you think this hiver should do? What, in your opinion, would be the best approach to this? Should the conversation happen, or just lock up and hope and pray that her employers see things differently and have a change of heart? What do you guys think? Let us know. For those of you who are listening to this, or who will be listening to this from Spotify, there will be a Q&A in the episode. So once you listen, so once you're done listening, you can drop your answers. It will be published, and we will send your responses to this Hiver. And of course, during the week as well, I would share excerpts from the email so that Hivers on the Gram community can also weigh in and drop their 2 cents, and also people that listen from other streaming platforms can drop their 2 cents as well. Okay, all right, that's it on today's episode. I really do hope, dear Hiver, that this has been able to help, and I hope that in the next couple of days, as other Hivers weigh in, you'll be able to get, the help that you need to take the decision and take the next step that you need to take. All right, that being said, please let us know where you are listening from. As you know, we recently just added visual content. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, let us know how you're consuming the Ladies Hive with tea and content. It will help us a lot to up our game. Okay? Alright, it's that time of the show. You know the drill. If you're not following us already, why? Why aren't you following us? Please follow us on all our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Ladies Hive. And of course, if you want to know what I get to do in my personal time and space, please do follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TEE_twirl. Alright, folks, my name is Tian, and I'll see you in the next episode. Adios!